All right, it's official. We're recording. Okay, I'm so stoked, in all honesty, to do this intro kickoff conversation with you guys and talk about really like where all this is coming from and why I want to bring it to you guys in this manner. I actually timed this call, which I know is not conducive for those at work, so that's why it'll be recorded, and it's going to be loaded in our M3 portal for those that decide that this is the strategy and the structure that they need in their life. I timed this call because my personal coaching call for myself and my business is just before this. So I feel like I've just got this like surge of like, holy shit, I have so much things to say and I just want to blurt it out. And I'm sorry, Trina, I know you're in the car. So I'm going to keep my language to PG-13. Okay, I'm gonna do my very best because I don't have anyone home and I tend to talk like a trucker when I'm really passionate. So I'm gonna do my very best, maybe this earmuffs a couple times. So here's a couple things. I wrote notes, and for those of you guys that know me very well, like I don't usually write notes because I shoot from the hip. I'm a very inspired conversationalist, and when I'm covering a topic, not only do I talk with my hands, but I do tend to go off on these tangents. So my goal for you guys, so you don't feel like you just watched a squirrel run in circles 8,000 times, that you really got some tangible thoughts and tools and action that even if you don't decide that the membership is for you, but at least you go, you know what, I really do think I could do this on my own, or I have my own strategy that's going to work for where I'm at in life. So that's what my end goal is really. And I don't plan on being, taken up in a whole host of time. But if you've got questions, drop them in the chat box. I'm going to do my best to answer them all. And if you are catching the recording, then I'll make sure, just send me a message. We're all buddies, right? So here's what I'm going to go through. I sent you guys or those of you that get my emails, I sent you this Core 4 workbook, right? I'm going to explain it and break it down a little bit more in depth than what I did when I kind of covered it initially. I'm going to talk about kind of the who, what, where, and why of it all, how it came about, why I think it's so imperative to anybody, regardless of what the size of your goals are, right? And why these 4 categories are really, really important, not just one over the other. I'm going to talk about balance, but I'm not going to talk about balance like I need balance in my life. Sorry. And only because I feel like I came out of that mentality last year. I came out of 2020 and 2021 going, I need some balance. I just need to survive. Like, I feel like we can all kind of relate to that. Like, we all just wanted to survive. We all just wanted to get through whatever the hell was going on and come out on the other end unscathed, right? And some of us were unscathed. Some of us, obviously had some challenges as it relates, but hopefully we all came out and learned a lot about ourselves and what we are capable of doing and what we're capable of overcoming, or what we allowed to happen, and realize that we had more control than we allowed ourselves to have, right? And so I'm going to talk about what that means in those 4 categories. But I want to talk about what the Core 4 is, where it came from, why does it work, why it's imperative. I'm going to start with the 90-day hard target breakdown of each category. And then we're going to go and peel the onion back and talk about the 30-day snapshot, and then the daily activities that it takes. And these are just the minimum. I mean, you can add your own things that it's going to take to meet what those categories are for each hard target that you have. Okay, so I'm going to use hard target a lot because it's probably the best descriptive 2 words that I can come up with that I think everybody can dial in and go, I know exactly what it means as a hard target. Right? Like, a hard target is basically a non-negotiable for you to accomplish in 90 days in all 4 categories. Okay, so let's break down what these are and where they came from. First of all, a little history on it. I didn't come up with the Core 4, but ironically, ever since I started doing personal development, back in 2008, when I learned what personal development was and how it applies to a business, I've been doing these tasks. And there was never anything termed to it. So I just was kind of starting to capture them as habits and routines as I was working on myself. The first was obviously my fitness, and that came, relatively easy. I'm not going to say that I, had no experience in fitness. My dad took me to the gym when I was 14 years old because I was interested, right? Not because I had health issues or, body dysmorphia, which I know a lot of people do. And I know it can be a very sensitive situation, but I also know that there's a lot of opportunity to overcome some of those things. From there, then I was like, okay, let me figure out this nutrition thing. Okay, well, you know what? I can make all these excuses. I better figure out the mindset piece, because if I don't have the mindset intact, you know what? Everything else can kind of fall apart. All right, well, I'm running a business because I quit commercial real estate. What the hell does that look like? I don't even know how to run a business, right? So how am I going to do that? And then lastly, like, what are the relationships that are involved in this whole process, and what relationships do I want? And I think a lot of you guys probably can remember back in the day when I started, Trina, you being one of them, and Terry, you've been here for so long, right by my side, and such a cheerleader. And I've got some really great tools, and one of them is because of you. So I want to talk about what these are. And if you guys remember back in college, I had to read Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Do you guys remember that book? Like, it was, to me, I was like, oh my God, this is a lot of words on a page. I was in college, and half the time my eyes were blurred because I was hungover. But there was a lot of elements that I remember from that book. And when it was brought up when I got into business, I was like, oh my God, I had to read this. And you kind of have those like aha moments, and you're kind of like, I remember that. Wow, that was really like, that's applicable to my life right now, So I really do appreciate the professor, which I couldn't name him if you paid me, who taught me what that was. So that I feel like is a foundation to these 4 principles. And I encourage you guys to go back and take a look at that book if you know, hey, you know what, I need to get some routines and habits in place so I can be a highly effective person. I am also going to talk about a book that I would love all of us that are participating to pick up and read. And if you decide not to participate with us, great. Pick it up and read it anyways, right? Like, I'm not going to be sharing things exclusive that you can't find anywhere else. I think the true benefit and probably the biggest value that I've been able to put together when I put this all on paper, and basically a accumulation of years of the practice that I've been running, not only with my nutrition business, my fitness business, myself, how I've worked through relationships, ones that were toxic that I had to cut out, my husband and myself, my kids, professionally, is accountability. Right? Like, I think most of us will see that the entire value in anything we do is accountability, right? If we are not accountable for anything, then chances are there's very small percentage of people in our population in this world currently that are accountable independently. Like, a lot of people just don't have it in them. They thrive off being able to post or share about it. I mean, our Facebook groups where we post our workouts, they're just populated with people sharing their workouts, and I love that, and that's a major accountability tool. But sometimes it's a little bit deeper than that, and that's really where I want this to be for you guys, in that whatever these categories we're going to talk about need to be for you, probably 9 times out of 10 it's going to be health related, right? But I also want to challenge you in this whole thing to really look at what this could be for you professionally. Whether you have a business, you want to start a business, you're a stay-at-home mom, how can you be a better stay-at-home mom? What hobbies can you do? How can you be the best PTA leader or brownie coach, or what? I don't even know what those people are called because my kids never got into that. My brother, I think, was a Cub Scout, something like that, whatever the Canadian version was. We had brownies as growing up in Canada. Now I think it's Girl Scouts, although I think they're combining them for one gender, but whatever. I digress. Told you I was good at that. Anyways, let's talk about what these 4 principles are. All right. This is mine. It's filled out. Okay. So you guys, in the workbook, you get a cover page that it speaks to how you use this Core 4 workbook. Okay. It's a lot of thought-provoking information, right? It is built from things that I've done and coaching programs that I've invested into, and things that just made sense, and things that have been proven result driven and success for me, I will put down and I will come together in and incorporate it in any practice that I have, whether it's nutrition, this coaching arm, or whatever, right? I want to be able to share with you guys all in one place to go, oh my God, that makes so much sense, right? I'm not perfect and I'm always learning. I mean, I posted a picture from, I think it was 2013. When I felt like I was on my game. I was in between having my second batch of kids, and I felt like I was strong, I was lean. I mean, the camera can do amazing things, so I looked extra ripped, but I really probably wasn't as ripped as the pictures look. But I look back to that and I was like, that's when I was physically successful, right? However, I look at whatever my stats were then and what they are now, and I'm like, I'm actually pretty damn successful physically at 43 years old and having 4 kids, right? And going through a 2-year pandemic and a move and, trying to juggle all the things. So there's a lot of shit that happens in our lives. And I think that is the most imperative root is that if we can't root ourselves in these core 4 principles, when we get smacked with anything else, then we don't know how to handle it because we are not rooted in these principles. So I'm going to break those down. So it's power, production, purpose, and passion. All right. Now the power is your physical self, your body. Now, I don't say your body in a vain sense at all. It is more of internally, your health, the way you feel on the outside too when you look in the mirror, right? Like so many of us start a workout program with the goal and ambition to finish it and look our very best, right? Because we followed it as designed. And I will say that, and as what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want this to sound vain, but I do think when you feel physically strong and you feel like you look good, then everything else in your life tends to fall into place a little bit easier because that confidence is there, that energy is there, and you're just like, you're taking care of yourself. Right? A lot of us are parents. Most of us are moms. And we tend to go, you know what? I got to take a back seat. My kids come first. I need to put, make sure they get out the door. I need to make sure that I'm, changing diapers. I'm getting lunches made. Maybe you have adult children and you need to make sure, a lot of your emotion goes to them. And we forget that we have to serve ourselves in order to be able to show up. And, to parallel that, we have to be a lead by example. Like more so than anything now, I know what my kids could potentially be exposed to that could be more powerful of an influence than me. And sadly, that's social media. Seeing what they see or knowing what they could see on social media, on YouTube, on television shows, which they don't watch them because, television's just dumb. And I know that if I don't root and I don't walk the walk at home, and if my husband doesn't walk the walk at home, and we aren't physically dialed in, right? And we've gone through years of imperfections, but if we aren't physically strong in our own rights, then we can't expect them to. And it's almost like we are teaching them and they're going to have that learned behavior. I see elements of learned behaviors from my husband and his parents. They're amazing people, but he had a different upbringing. Like he was an athlete and he was working out constantly and he has that dialed into him, and his parents didn't. But he would learn that, right? But as an adult, he can now see how they live their lives and how easy it is to fall into that pattern because, as an adult, you just kind of see it and you're like, oh, well, my parents, were successful in business, so I can follow suit with some of their, it's just funny how it's woven into your DNA, right? Losing my dad at an early age, that was like the hard stop. Like, I am not going to justify having a shitty life at that age because I was dealt a poor deck of cards, as he would say, and then my health as a result of that. He absolutely had choices that he could make for the better. He could have spent the time when he lost his job, gone to the gym, fed himself whole foods, but he didn't because he allowed all of that to just, he allowed that stuff to go to the side, and, it was also a circumstance of his relationship. So I think your physical self, having a hard target and something to work towards that is absolutely non-negotiable, is critical as a very, very foundation and base going into these 4 principles. The next one being production. Now, whether you run a business, have a business, want to start a business, that is very much along the same lines is having a hard target. If you run a business and maybe you had a really great year last year, well, how can this year be better? And how are you going to measure that end goal? And that's the thing that's to remember, is that when you set a hard target, it has to be measurable, it has to be quantifiable, it has to be something that you can effectively test, and see quantified over time. And we'll break down what that is. And really that's what the ongoing weekly calls are, is to be more specific and drill into each of these categories. But your hard target does have to be measurable, and it has to be quantifiable, so you can go and attest to in 30 days, you know what? Let's use an example. I want to lose 2 pant sizes. Okay, what's your current pant size? What's the 2 pant size down below? How are you going to get there? Right? What are the tasks reverse engineering? Okay, so we'll go into production, your professional life, even just, in being a parent, right? Like, use that as your professional life and take aside the relationship thing, because that comes into play later. What is a tangible result that you want out of that? Maybe it is, I want to create time for myself to do this. If you run a business, I want our business to be making $10,000 a month in blank. I personally want to make $10,000 a month in blank, right? Like 90 days, 60 days, 30 days, right? So pick that 90-day hard target for your professional output. Purpose, mindset. Like, I feel like mindset should really be up there with your body, because if you don't have the proper mindset to get up and do the work that it takes to have all of those things in place, I think the mindset is a constant thing that we need to be working on. So what is your hard target that you can measure in 90 days for your mindset? For me, it was continuing to, I was meditating last year pretty decently. And then, when we decided we were going to make this move, all those things kind of just, I let them slip. And I was like, you know what? Things are just chaotic right now. I'm just going to have cocktails all the time. I'm not going to do my reading. I stopped reading my devotion book. I wasn't journaling. I wasn't meditating. And I felt like I was just like, zing, zing, zing. And I was really miserable with the people that were around me. I was annoyed with all of them, right? But that was me. And also learning that I'm responsible for how I feel in any given moment, and how I had to learn that I have to take that responsibility. But so going back to my purpose, what my mindset is, having that AM and PM meditation, 5 to 10 minutes. I would like to eventually, by 90 days, have a solid 10 to 15 minute meditative practice. Some professionals say that you really can't get into a meditative state. For me, that's all I need to kind of close my mind, let my thoughts run amok, and then I can bless and release, and then I carry on my merry way, which at night, it's usually to bed. In the morning, it's up and out the door, and I go to my workout. Okay? Also, this is very much part of my mindset. Thanks to Terry, I referred this book to so many people, and it's so funny how many people have said, oh my gosh, it's sold out. So I don't know if it's back in stock, but I get this. I bought this for a couple clients on Amazon. Terry was so kind to gift it to me, and it is a daily devotion. So for someone like myself that is not wildly religious, I do have my own sense of faith, and I want to rebuild and draw strength on that. And I really want to encourage you guys to, whatever that is for you, maybe it's sitting and meditating, and then maybe you visualize. There's a lot of really great podcasts, and there's a lot of really great Spotify playlists on how to meditate or even how to visualize. And so my goal in 90 days is to learn how to effectively visualize. And it's not just like, oh, I have a vision board, right? Like, essentially visualizing an outcome and living it. And continuing to think through it, but having the tasks and doing that on a regular basis so it becomes so routine. Lastly, passion, our relationships. Hands down, for those of us that are married, I think your priority is the relationship you have with your spouse. The communication portals that are open between the two of you, the authenticity, the open-mindedness, but also, like, what is that hard target for your relationship, right? And there's all the other layers, right? Like maybe your priority, maybe you're solid, your husband or your wife and you've got great, your date night every other week. And at nighttime, you guys put the phones away and you sit and read together, or you meditate together, you do yoga, you work out together, like whatever that thing is. And maybe you need to replenish a relationship with a family member, or maybe you need to learn how to cut off a family member or a really good friend, a toxic friend. A lot of those things are really, really hard to acknowledge, but they're also like super imperative to own and say, you know what, if I want my life to be elevated, if I want to level up a little bit, I got to release that because they're only pulling me down, and sometimes that's the staunch awareness that it's somebody in your home, it is your spouse, or a child that you just need to kind of smack around a little bit, figuratively, not physically, because they're drawing they're holding you back. They are creating this animosity or this tension or this subdued energy in your household that isn't necessary, because there's enough nonsense going on. Your home should be the space where you feel you can be super confident, super open, and very communicative in your relationship. So I'm not a relationship expert by any means, right? Tony and I have been married 17 years, and you know what? We get along really great, but we also know that it's really easy to just fall into simple patterns that, nothing intense is discussed, because if you get into a tense conversation, a kid's going to need you, right? And so, or you're exhausted at the end of the day. So just talking about something that's on your mind, or you're just go, and you forget to bring it up. And then you're like, oh, whatever, I'll deal with it later, right? So for my hard target in my relationship is really going to be rooted with him, because if my relationship with him is solid and strong and fun and vibrant and different in some ways, that's outside of the comfort zone, then I feel like it's going to transcend into how our children view relationships, right? How we're going to come across to other people when we're out and about, and also how I'm going to expect my kids to treat other people and how I'm going to expect them to be treated when they are with other people. So it's this really kind of like waterfall effect, and it's a really quite beautiful thing. So that's a general overview. This is each category has its own worksheet. Okay, you got your 90-day goal that you write at the top and your start date. Very, very transparent. Each month has its 30-day goal, which you will print out if you choose 3 of these, one for each 30 days. And if you don't know what that second one and third one is in each one, that's okay. Focus on 30 days, okay? And then what you're going to do every single day, not Monday through Friday, every single day, that is going to get you to that measurable, quantified, hard target. And so I put together this. I just loaded it actually in the portal. It is my M3 checklist. So these are 6 tasks that really fulfill these 4 categories. Your morning calm or meditation, and that comes with not touching your phone to look at emails or texts. I actually use my phone to listen to some music when I'm doing some meditation, but I don't touch that until after I've done this. Whoop, that's my page marker. A progress photo. I do think that there is an enormous amount of value in taking a progress photo when you're in the mood and mode of doing something pretty profound for yourself. Because when you're motivated and when you are consistent, you're going to see those physical changes. You're going to see the light in your face change. You're going to see the whites of your eyes pop. You're going to see just a whole energy shift from the start to the finish, right? Because you're making notable changes that are going to be seen visibly in those progress photos. So I do encourage you to take a daily progress photo. I take one every morning in the mirror, nothing fancy, no makeup, sports bra and pants, because I'm committed for 90 days to do something for myself and truly measure the success by going through these daily activities, working out, following an eating plan that is designed. And I'm not talking about an 80-20 right now. For me, an 80-20 plan is not going to get me where I want to be. I'm not looking to prance around in a bikini on the stage. I'm not trying to train for a figure competition, but I am really trying to see and challenge myself at 43 years old what I'm capable of doing. Can I still lift heavy weights and be lean and strong and confident? Or if I lift heavy weights, am I going to feel like I did when I was doing CrossFit and I felt super bulky? But also, I know a lot more now than I did back then. So we've learned so much over time and really adapted to the change and what our bodies respond to. So whatever that eating plan for you is, as a member, you've got access to the Eating for Energy protocol, which I think is a really critical part to start when you are really trying to wipe the slate clean because you don't know where to start and what your body needs. That is probably the most effective plan to start with because it is anti-inflammatory. It is all food-based. There's no need for shakes and pills and all that kind of stuff. You're eating real food. And then you go into this testing protocol. Totally optional. If you know counting macros is your thing. If you know if you just eat plant-based, you're going to feel amazing. Maybe you do paleo or Whole30 or whatever, right? 2B mindset, portion fix. I mean, there's gobs of things out there. As long as you can stick with it day in and day out, and it's not, well, one week I'm going to do this, and the next week I'm going to do keto. Okay? For the love of all things, don't do keto. Okay? Just nobody can ever be sustainable on it, and I'm going to be completely blunt and transparent about that. I've seen so many people come off keto losing 15 pounds, and then they gain it all back and then some because they start eating carbs. Right? And carbs aren't bad. If you're lifting weights and you're working out intentionally, you're moving your body, you do need to have carbohydrates as a replenishment for that glucose stores that are depleted when you're working out. So food for thought. Drinking your water and reading 10 pages. So this is where we're going to read a book together as a group. I'm going to recommend The Compound Effect. I just finished it on Audibles, and I'm also reading Think Like a Monk. And that serves my mindset for continuing to understand why meditation and that visualization practice is really going to be beneficial for me to continue to work and fulfill all of these 4 categories. So that is it in a nutshell on what this whole M3, the Mindset Mastery Method. And I have to give credit to my girlfriend, Chrissy, who is like the marketing guru, because I sat there and went, I have all this stuff. What the hell do we call this thing that is all encompassing? Because nutrition is by like hands down, well, fitness might be first, is my jam. I love workouts. I love teaching workouts. I love programming. I love doing them. I love trying new things. I'm always looking to do new things that might manipulate my body in a good way, not as a vain way, not to have a 6-pack, not in anything, but to be stronger and leaner and to cut out my own bullshit that I'm 43. I don't need to really have muscle. Like I don't need to be lifting, 20 pounds in curls. I don't need to do that. I did that in my 30s and my 20s, but why the hell not? Why not? And if I am motivated by it and it keeps me challenged, I'm sure as hell going to do it. Okay. Nutrition. I could light up and talk about nutrition all day long. I love it. Okay. And I do think that that is a really important thing for people because it's really easy and it's really messy. Because there's so many options out there that we want to chase what our best friends, cousins, coworkers doing because they got 20 pounds gone in like 2 weeks. So we're going to go see what they're doing, right? But that might not be suitable for you. So have the tools, have the access, but for the love of all things, have the accountability. And that's really where I see this value thriving in this community is, it might be small and it might, grow to be hundreds of people. And I really do hope that it does. And I really will rely on you guys, hopefully being able to see this as, oh my gosh, I need to tell so-and-so about this. Oh my gosh, so-and-so needs to do this. It's all grassroots. I'm not running ads. I'm not paying anybody. I'm not, doing anything to grow it except for communicating with those that like, trust, and respect me. And I'm bringing people along for the ride that I like, trust, and respect because I want to see you guys be successful. And I want you to see that there is a map that you can effectively take that is going to help your success wherever you're at in life, however old you are, and that it can always be something that you continue to duplicate throughout the year. You start on January 12th or you start on March 12th. I don't care, but I the line in the sand gets drawn when you have a hard target and you cut out the nonsense crap of, I have to wait till Monday, I have to wait till I get through this party, I have to wait till my husband gets home from his work trip, I have to do this, I have to do that, because you know what? We are all capable of making our own choices that are going to either get us towards that hard target, or it's going to pull us back and we're going to sit in this kind of funky, static place, for the dawn of time. We just can't. And so I continue to refer back to these last 2 years because those are my excuses of, I just want balance. I just want to be able to survive and get through this. And you know what? And it makes me happy that I can have a cocktail at night because, I don't know why. I like the taste of it. I don't know. Why do we give ourselves that reason? And I'm not saying I'm not knocking cocktails at all. I personally decided that I need to omit them for 90 days because I need the clarity. I need the focus and the drive and also the challenge to know that I can do that because it's a choice that I get to make, what I want to put in my body and how I want it to feel. And if I have these hard targets in 90 days, I'm pretty sure alcohol is not going to be a part of the equation to help me get there in any of these categories, because I want to be really crystal clear on what I want to do and what I want my life to be like in 90 days and how I want to be able to serve you guys as my clients, as my community, as my tribe, as my friends, right? So that's that. I want to be able to answer any questions if you guys have them. I wanted to show you guys the tools that I have and I use. Get a journal, a planner of some sort. My friend Dawn and her business partner, they created this. It's called the Clear Planner. And it is a daily, everything's the same every single day, except for, I don't get any kickbacks, by the way. I'm just telling you that. Dawn did send me this because she wanted me to experience it, but I don't get any affiliate stuff. I don't get money from it, nothing. Every Sunday, you can go back and reflect on your week, what your wins, your losses, what you learned, what you want to improve on, and what your priorities are for the following week. You can recreate this on your own. I don't care. Have something that you can write your thoughts. Oh, there's a whole page, or there's a whole bunch of pages in the back that you can write notes. It's in here somewhere. There they are. Where I take all my notes when I'm talking to people. But I just want to encourage you to level up. I don't care where you're at in your life. You can always level up and push yourself to that next goal. And sometimes, you know what? It might seem insignificant to the next person, but to you, if it's really, really challenging, it kind of scares the shit out of you, that means that you need to do it. Because we don't know what tomorrow brings. And when we're going to get hit with God knows what. But you know what? When we're rooted in these core 4 principles for ourselves, and we have a really strong sense of attachment to why we're doing the things for our body, why we want to grow ourselves professionally or personally, why we need to fuel this, because if this ain't intact, then don't think anything else is going to work, and why our relationships are really important. Because without having, I guarantee if you have a strong relationship in your marriage, if you have strong friendships, relationships with your kids, you're going to have a better time, an easier time getting to the body of your dreams. You're going to make more money because you're going to be happier in your relationships, and those relationships are going to support you, and they're going to, likely get you where you want to be. And if you've got toxic ones, then those tend to draw you back, and can, delay things a little bit. So that's what I have, you guys. I planned on it being short and sweet, but I think I got it about 25 minutes because we started a little bit later, because we were just chit-chatting. But if you guys have questions, please shoot me an email, a text. You guys, most of you have my personal information, and please know that I'm an open book. I'll be completely transparent, even if you give it a month. You do have access to the Fit Studio. You'll have access to the Eating for Energy protocol, and you'll have access to this mindset portal as well, that's got a whole bunch of different exercises for you to go through and help you start to create these habits and these changes. Not to mention the workbook will be housed there, and this brand new checklist that I just created and uploaded as well. And all the calls will be loaded in there too, so you can come back and get refreshed and go, God, what did she say about that? And then each week we'll have really like a 20 or 30 minute get to it, unless there's a bunch of questions, and covering specific action items for each topic. So there you have it. I know you guys are all busy, so I'm going to let you go, and I appreciate you all being on here. Terry and Trina, thanks for being on here live. I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your day. And I'm here. So let me know if you need anything from me. And until then, I hope you guys have some sunshine and can go do something wonderful for yourself today. Bye, Trina. Bye, Terry.